Hi. That was creepy. This is going to be a pretty substantial video. This is the video all about the Phantom Hourglass and the Shattered Lands. So it's going to be two parts. How to get the Phantom Hourglass and what the Phantom Hourglass does. And then I'm going to make another video about something else that the Phantom Hourglass does. But first of all, to get to the Phantom Hourglass, you need the Ancient Gate Key, and watch the Song of Time video for that. You need to play the Song of Time, you need to find the Song of Time, get the Ocarina of Time from Hylian, which is this place right here. Get the Ocarina of Time, get the Song of Time, learn the Song of Time, and then I need food. And play the Song of Time at an ancient enchanter, and then you'll be able to make the key. And then you finally get the key, and you can unlock this. This is also in the Link Between Worlds video. And then you enter the Link Between Worlds. Now, the Link Between Worlds video is a little out of date now, because the Link Between Worlds has changed quite considerably since I made the Link Between Worlds video. Your followers cannot follow you into the Link Between Worlds. I made sure of that, because otherwise they'll do weird things like stand on that long pole, long crystal, and it's just doesn't work. And they're not supposed to be in here anyway, because you're the Dragonborn. No. So, the Link Between Worlds, it's no longer foggy. It uses different lighting. And you may notice all these Apocrypha, bridges, and there's an Apocrypha gate. Now, you need to get through Kina Langdenzel, but you also need to make it through the other dungeons, Itnamzand and Morwidajal, because I will show you why. You need the shrine keys from each dungeon. So this cage right here, you can unlock it, and it was unlocked with the shrine key, which is from Kina Langdenzel. I'm going to rename it to Kina Langdenzel Shrine Key. And then it sort of takes a little finagling. It's just because the cages are so weird, but if you're really close to the valve, you can use it. So turn the valve, and then that will lower bridges from here. And then you approach Morwidajal, and you pop up here, and you open the Morwidajal cage. And that needs the Morwidajal Sanctuary key, which you can only get if you beat Morwidajal. So turn that valve, and that lowers some more bridges to this little weird little flower thing. So you climb up there, and this one requires the Itnamzand Sanctum key, which I don't have. Itnamzand Sanctum. And then you can pull that out. And then that opens that gate and lowers that bridge. In earlier versions, you may have noticed that sort of gate over there, and it's been there for a while, but only recently did I add the actual gate to allow you to access it, and a bridge to actually allow you to get there. You can actually turn these valves and lower these bridges if you wanted to. Raise, there's a word for that, raise. Oh, I know you can't, okay. I thought that maybe you could... Oh, no, yeah. So normally, you'd come in and all of these would be folded up, and you come over here and you can't access this. and it's all curled up, so even if you got over there, you'd have to somehow... So it's very... I mean, I tried my best to make it impossible to get over there, even with Whirlwind Sprint. Whirlwind Sprint is kind of a... It's tricky to make puzzles that are immune to Whirlwind Sprint. You can access the link between worlds from any of these 3 dungeons. If you had come through from all 3, all of these bridges would be lowered. This isn't an ancient Nord bridge, it's a Skyhaven Temple. So I'm gonna lower this. And it's actually sideways because for some reason it always starts down. I kept trying to make it work, but it always started down no matter what bridge it was. So I had to make it upside down, which makes it kind of weird to approach, but you can walk right through this, so it just looks a little weird. I'm gonna turn off realistic needs because it's kind of getting into... Okay. There we go. And then Idnumzand, in order to lower those, you need to get through Idnumzand, and it'll come down and there's this, and then there's a valve here that lowers that. So, it's pretty simple. No matter which one you come in, you always have to lower the bridge, and then in order to get over there, you have to open the Kina Langzel cage, lower that bridge, open the Morwidderzal cage, lower that bridge, open the Idnumzand cage, and lower that bridge, and then you can finally get across and all that. I've put in some guards so that you can't do this, because then you start dying. I might modify this one again sometime. I might put it up here. That's probably a better place because people have said that it's hard to get to it. I've done my best with it right now, but as long as you're close, you can turn it. I might put it up there, but I think it's gonna stay like this for a while because it's pretty much fine the way it is. You just need to be close. That's the only thing, because otherwise it'll just be like, you want to close the cage, you want to close the cage, you have to be close. So maybe I'll put it up here, maybe, I don't know, but it'll be here or it'll be there. And that's really the only funny thing about the new Link Between Worlds is the Kina Langdonzel cage is kind of like, Now then, to get here, not about that yet. In order to get to this place, you need to use Whirlwind Sprint because you can't cross there without it. So you have to use the thing that people have been using to cheat. And sometimes it'll launch you right in there, like that one just did. And sometimes you'll land on the bridge and you have to walk. Okay. Oh, that's neat. That's never happened before. This is the Shattered Lands. And this is the way back. It doesn't look like much, but if you approach it, you'll pop back into the Link Between Worlds. Okay. Oh, it's not snowing anymore. Anyway, this is the Shattered Lands. It's pretty much a branch. It's like the second room of the Link Between Worlds, but the main difference is it's not all crystal. It has some land here and some floating gubbins. There is also, down here, there's some sapphire, there's some Stalrim, and some more sapphire over there. And if you jump off, I was originally going to make it so that you could jump off and it doesn't matter, but if you jump off, it's not a good idea, because you will die. And I had to do that because you could if I allowed you to just fall and then get reset, you could cheat, and I don't want you to be able to cheat. We'll come back to this. That's pretty neat. All this crystal, and there's chunks of land and buildings. These bridges will lower as you approach. So yeah, get right up close on that one, and it'll open. So yeah, there's just weird stuff. That's all it is. And the Shattered Lands, because it's a branch of the Link Between Worlds, the Link Between Worlds and the Shattered Lands are not technically dungeons. So I'm not naming them like Vitrianov and Itnum's. They're not they're not anagrams. There's going to be another branch from the Link Between Worlds called the Sundered Towers, and that's not an anagram. So I've sort of broken my anagram rule, but it doesn't matter. There's not much here. You can collect this water if you have realistic needs and diseases or something. You can sort of squibble around that way if you wanted to. I think I might add something to this this pool, so like if you go into this pool you'll find something. So be careful, because if you fall you die. Oh, this is an Easter egg. I don't know if you can tell. I'm gonna do TFC here. This isn't a Zelda reference, but I always have to put something in anything I make. So the Shattered Lands, I had to place every crystal by hand. Every little thing I had to place by hand, and I was building this, and I'm like, you know, let's have a little fun. This shape may look a little familiar to you if you're familiar with another Nintendo game. I will give you a hint. It's ice. There's an ice thing, and then this smoke is also kind of a hint. I'll come back to it once I get the Phantom Hourglass. There's a chest here that you can open. There's some stuff in it. If you wanted to, you could go up there. I sort of made this a jumping puzzle. It's pretty difficult. I've never been able to do it myself, but I think it's possible. Yeah, I think it should be possible. Nope. I'll have to fiddle with that, because that's supposed to be a jumping puzzle. But the good thing is that you can jump off of this, that thing, and you won't get falling and dead. I'll explain more about what the Shattered Lands actually are, because there is sort of there's lore to the mod, and the Shattered Lands are a specific thing. More Stalrim. Whoop. Barrel. Stuff in it. Another barrel, some more stuff in it. giant mushrooms. This is a thing. There's something. That's where we're headed. And this is interesting. Everything is frozen, so this is falling and it's frozen. This is frozen until you touch it. And then there's a falling birch tree that's just sort of stuck, hanging in the air. There's all this rubble that's just sort of circulating, which is really cool. There was another one down there that you might have seen when I fell that was just crystal with some rubble orbiting it. There's a gossip stone. So if you have the Mask of Truth, it'll give you hints just like any other gossip stone. And then there's a second noble sword. So you get the noble sword from Itnamzand, and then this is a second one that you can get. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the second noble sword that you can get. Is that thing gonna render yet? Can't really see it yet. Now, once you get the noble sword, if you want it, this is actually a reference to Oracle of Ages. The noble sword is... I'm gonna make a noble sword video, but the Oracle in Oracle of Ages, the noble sword was in the woods, so it seemed fitting to put in a tree stump. I think you can jump on the rubble, but it doesn't really... It's not really wise to jump on that. It doesn't really move you anyway. It's not like a real platform. I think you actually fall right through it, but I haven't tried. So I encourage you to explore the Shattered Lands yourself. I'm just sort of doing a quick walkthrough. Once you get the noble sword, you can jump down here. And that was kind of quick, but... And I have to do this. This is something I had to do. You may know, you may recognize this from the Itnamzand trailer. Okay, let's go through this hole slowly. So we have a tree stump, and there's a hole in it, and you fall through it. And then this is an Apocrypha shaft, so there's all these books around, and there's bookshelves, banners, more bookshelves, and most of these books are volumes of a Poison song for no good reason. And then there's pages that come in and out, and then there's a jar, more shelves. Battle axe. If you manage to catch that, you can get a battle axe out of it. And then up here, there were giant mushrooms. This is a huge, well, not really a huge, but this is an Alice in Wonderland reference. I love Alice in Wonderland. It's my favorite book. Lewis Carroll's my favorite author. So I had to reference Lewis Carroll. I had to reference Alice in Wonderland. So I put giant mushrooms in, and this is a reference to the Minish Cap, the tree portals. I was originally going to make the Shattered Lands... Oh, don't look at that. I was going to make the Shattered Lands bigger, and you had to walk through like Minish portals and fight Stalfos on giant desks and things, but I made it and it just didn't work, so I just sort of shortened it into this. And then this is a reference to Down the Rabbit Hole. There's a honey jar, which is the marmalade jar, and there's banners and everything. So that's a reference to Alice in Wonderland, because I had to. Floating books, it's just the Poison song over and over. There's some other junk in here, more books, but for the most part, it's the Poison song, just because of the lists that I use, and I don't really want to replace them. I might put something on the bottom here, just for giggles, there actually is already something here. A chest. There's stuff in it because it's a chest. I think it needs to be turned, though. So, the Shattered Lands are supposed to be weird, and they're supposed to be, like, mind-bending, and they're supposed to sort of play with how Skyrim works as a game, not so much as a world. You may notice that it's always steaming, like all of this stuff is steaming. That thing up there was steaming. That was real specific, wasn't it? The land up there was like smoking and steaming. There's some rubble, there's fallen trees, there's normal trees, there's books, like I said, there's giant pillars of crystal, which I think this turned out really well, these two giant crystal pillars here. And then there's that. You may be already excited by looking at that. Then there's this rubble, this Snow Elf ruin rubble, that you have to cross because there's no real bridge. So you have to traverse this and being very careful not to fall. It's pretty easy to get across. And Snow Elf Bridge, tilted, messed up, broken towers that aren't working, they're just floating there. Yeah. The atmosphere here is just, I can't capture it with video, you have to experience it yourself. Before we enter the obvious thing that is obvious, there's some stall room here, so I encourage you to explore around. There's some geodes here. There's a chest over there, which has some stuff in it. There's some more ores, there's some more stall room. I might put some more stuff behind the building so that it's more rewarding to explore this. You can see more of this rubble around it. And here's some more geodes. And that's that. You can circle all the way around, get some stall room, get some awesome stuff. I keep thinking these are real people, but they're not. These were made, I think they're made by Malo, which is fitting. And somebody else converted them, but I credit them in Relics of Hyrule, and these are, I just made them statues for this. So, this is the Temple of Time. Now, I said before, Relics of Hyrule is not a Zelda remake, it is a Zelda homage. And there's a lore reason for the Temple of Time being here. And it looks like the College of Winterhold, but it's not. I was very careful to give it a window with the royal seal on it, just like the Temple of Time. I was originally going to make it out of Snow Elf stuff, but there wasn't enough. The Snow Elf stuff is very specific. Like, this is the Snow Elf bridge, and that's it. The Snow Elf facade is very specific, so you can't really customize it like you can with Dwemer ruins. So this is obviously the College of Winterhold Tower, but I just put that in because the College of Winterhold is thankfully very modular. There used to be towers right here, but they obviously got destroyed, so that's what that is. Let's open this up, and when you enter, be quiet for a while and listen. Now, this is the Sovngarde music, and I chose it very carefully. I didn't just randomly choose it. This is very carefully chosen. Once you enter, there are 6 of these statues, and in the middle is the Phantom Hourglass, floating. I know that the Phantom Hourglass is on a pedestal in the Phantom Hourglass, the game Phantom Hourglass, but the Phantom Hourglass was never in the Temple of Time. And I just like how this looks, so I left this here. So here's where the Phantom Hourglass is. You can bump into it and knock it over, and you'll notice it sort of behaves very strangely. Very strangely, actually. But it always sort of, it's very light, and it always sort of stays the direction that it is. So if you have it right side up, it should be okay. But at any rate, now you may be asking, why the hell is the Sovngarde music playing? Well, the Temple of Time. In the Temple of Time, you would hear a choir singing the Song of Time over and over. But in Relics of Hyrule, Hyrule is dead, and I can't say this enough. The idea is Hyrule is dead, because Link never came. No Link ever came. That was the idea. And I'll explain this more. There is a point in like the official timeline where I'm like, okay, this is when Link stopped coming, and that's where Hyrule went to hell, and all this horrible stuff happened. So the reason why the Phantom Hourglass is here is it's preserving what little there is left of Hyrule. So Link Between Worlds is quite literally between worlds. And the Temple of Time and the Shattered Lands are what's left of Hyrule. The Phantom Hourglass has the power of freezing time and stopping time. So the Phantom Hourglass was in here, being protected, preserving what was left of Hyrule. So that's that. So the reason why the Sovngarde chant is going: Link never came. The hero stopped coming. The Dragonborn is the new hero. So the Temple of Time is singing to the Dragonborn, because the Dragonborn is the new hero. That's my explanation. Take what you will from it. Temple of Time, it's very symmetrical. It has a nice... There's nothing else in it besides the Phantom Hourglass. I will put more stuff. There's going to be more to it. But for now, you come in and you get the Phantom Hourglass. You might get turned around and a little confused, but it's okay, because no matter what door you take, you always end up back in the Shattered Lands. But if you take one of these side doors, you'll end up on the balcony of the Temple of Time. And there's more of these statues protecting, guarding the temple. I might put stuff like over there, maybe like a chest that you can pick up. And then I think, I'm not sure, let's try this door. These doors lead somewhere else. These doors lead to the very top, the roof of the Temple of Time. And there's gonna be something here. There's not something here right now because I haven't finished it, but there's gonna be a third quote-unquote room to the Link Between Worlds. This is the second room. There's going to be another room. And you'll be able to get into that room from here. And that has something to do with it. But more on that later. That's not what this video is about. So you can take those doors, get to the roof. Take those doors, get to the balcony. Take that door and just leave the front door of the Temple of Time. And then this door, the southern door. So these two southern doors go to the roof. The northern doors go to the balcony. The north door goes straight out. And then the south door brings you right back to the beginning of the Shattered Lands. And it's sitting there. And you can go down this way. And that will bring you right back home. And you can climb up this way again if you wanted to get a shortcut to the Temple of Time. I think this will work. Yeah. It's a little tricky, but you can get up there. Now then, what about that thing right there? I've given you some time to guess, and now I might as well tell you. That is a reference to Vanillux, 5th generation Pokemon, the double ice cream cone. Vanillux is not one of my favorite Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is Chandelure, by the way. And I just randomly chose. I was just like, oh, you know, crystals, and I'm like, I could make Vanillux. So I just made Vanillux just for fun. Just one of those silly little Easter eggs. I like Vanillux. Vanillux is a cool Pokemon. Literally. Okay, so that was the Shattered Lands and how to get the Phantom Hourglass. I will bring you back over here and talk to you about what you can do with the Phantom Hourglass. Once you exit the Shattered Lands, you can't really get back up there. Don't go out that way, you'll get killed. You might be able to whirlwind sprint up there. Let's see if I can. Yeah, you can whirlwind sprint that. So then you can go back home however way you want. I'm gonna go for here. Okay. Now then, you want to find these guys. Hylian Vampires. This is Latimer, he's a good one. This is Alnisan, she's another good one. I made a video about them. Yolanda, she's good. Hylian Vampires have a 50% chance of carrying Sand of Hours. So if you keep finding vampires, eventually you'll find some Hylian Vampires. And they always have... Oh, that's neat. He's wearing a shield with his quarterstaff, which is different. The quarterstaff is a two-handed weapon, but he has a shield on behind it. This is Ellery, by the way. She's another video. Hylian Vampires carry Sand of Hours. Latimer, Yolanda, and Alnisan do not carry them because that would be a little cheap. But you find Sand of Hours, and there's 8 samples that you need. And is essentially infinite because as long as you find Hylian Vampires, you're fine. There's 1 sample in Itnumzand toward the end of the dungeon. You can find Sand of Hours there. There's going to be some bosses in the Sundered Towers that drop Sand of Hours. That rhymed. So Sand of Hours it's rare, and it has very specific places where you can find it. And I will pop on over to an Ancient Enchanter and show you what to do with the Sand of Hours. Okay. once you have the Phantom Hourglass and some Sand of Hours, go to an Ancient Enchanter, go to Miscellaneous, and you can fill the Phantom Hourglass. You need 2 samples for each time. So I'll make that. So that was low sand. You can get some more. You have 2 more, you can do that. And once you get the medium sand Phantom Hourglass, you can make a spell tome for the spell called Phantom Force. And that requires a ruined book and the medium sand Phantom Hourglass to be in your inventory. So now I can learn Phantom Force. And that's another Pokemon reference. It doesn't do what Phantom Force does. Sorry to disappoint. So Phantom Force is a alteration spell, and I will demonstrate what it does. So Yolanda, because you're here, you are my guinea pig. You may notice Phantom Force uses the reanimate hand art, and then when you launch it, it launches out a disc projectile. It uses the reanimation hit art and all that, but it's a paralyzed spell. And depending on how much sand you have, if you have the... I have the medium sand Phantom Hourglass, and that makes it 18 seconds. It lasts about 18 seconds of paralysis. So that's pretty cool. And then the more sand you have, the fuller the Phantom Hourglass is, the more potent that spell will be. So for instance, it says here, foe's personal timeline is stopped for 18 to 25 seconds, depending on the potency of the Phantom Hourglass. So medium sand, it lasts 18 seconds. High sand makes it last 22 seconds, if I remember correctly. And I just noticed that there's a glitch that I need to fix. Okay, once you have high sand, you should be able to make another spell that doesn't seem to be in here. Yeah, and you can keep it until you get the Phantom Hourglass, and the Phantom Hourglass is the full hourglass. So if it doesn't have like a parentheses high sand, then it's not full. So I have the normal Phantom Hourglass now, and I can make the spell tome for Phantom Innervation. There's a second spell that I seem to have not made properly. Phantom Hold. There's supposed to be a spell tome once you have the normal Phantom Hourglass, just low sand, empty, or I think it's empty. You can make the spell tome for Phantom Hold, and that requires a ruined book and the Phantom Hourglass. And Phantom Hold is just slow time, but it depends on the potency of the Phantom Hourglass. So if you have a full Phantom Hourglass, it practically stops time. And you can just sort of run around willy-nilly, and it's like really slow. I mean, they just now realized that they can follow me. So, and it lasts a long time. So that's Phantom Hold. It's a varying thing. It depends on the strength of the Phantom Hourglass, and the stronger the Phantom Hourglass is, the stronger the spell will be. When you have the full Phantom Hourglass, you get access to Phantom Innervation. And Phantom Innervation is basically a cheat. It kills any enemy instantly. She's essential, so she's not gonna die. But you launch it, it sends out that huge funnel, and it pretty much kills anything instantly. You can only use it once per day, though. It also disintegrates enemies that it kills, which is why it requires the full Phantom Hourglass, and it requires that you recharge it for a day. The description explains it. A foe's personal timeline is sped up, turning them to dust. And Phantom Hold is, time is slowed. So your personal timeline is sped up in the Phantom Hold, or if you want to look at it a different way, the world's timeline is slowed and yours is normal. And then Phantom Force, the foe's personal timeline is stopped. Phantom Innervation, the foe's personal timeline is sped up, or the entire world is sped up, but they're left in the dust, literally. So it's not easy to get Sand of Hours. It's not easy to get the Phantom Hourglass. So I don't think that this Phantom Innervation spell is... It is OP. It's essentially a light arrow, but unlike the light arrow, you can only use this once per day. And I like having powers attached to your hand because you can't accidentally... Like, you're like, oh no! There's a horrible monstrosity, evil thing that I must hit Z and shout at. And you hit Z and it's like, powers can only use once a day. Oh no, 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 no. So I like having powers in the hand like that. That's everything. There's one more thing that the Phantom Hourglass can do, and that is this. That's not it. I will make a video about this soon enough. Ebony, Phantom Sword. Where is Phantom Sword? Oh, Phantom Sword. Okay. Well, Phantom Sword, he needs Sand of Hours and other stuff. I'll talk about the Phantom Sword in its own video, but once you have the Phantom Hourglass, you can make the Phantom Sword, which is pretty cool. But the Phantom Sword is its own video. This video is probably way too long already, so I won't talk about the Phantom Sword. But that was that. That is the Phantom Hourglass. Basically, beat all three major dungeons, Itnamzand, Morwitterzal, and Kina Langdonzel. Get into the Link Between Worlds, get into the Shattered Lands, get the Phantom Hourglass, and then get Sand of Hours to improve it, and as it improves you can learn more timey-wimey spells of death and awesomeness. Yeah. Not much else to say. Thanks for watching. Phantom Hourglass is awesome. I really like how it turned out. I really like how it connects to the lore of Relics of Hyrule. And it sort of explains why the Link Between Worlds is so weird and why the freezing caves are the way they are. So yeah, that's that. See ya.